We finally have some TV viewership times in a season that is arguably the most important for Mike Gundy's quarterback one decision making.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by to make this your first listen. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms, visually as well on YouTube. Find me personally on X at AllDayOState. Today, we get started in football. This is yet another conversation. Now, we do have some time set forth by the Big 12 Conference, and there is some complaints to be had here. Just like we heard OU complain for the last couple of years about how they keep getting designated with this stupid early time slot. Well, Oklahoma State seems to have adopted some of that love from the people who conduct the time frame on these deals. My first one I got to argue about is the Arkansas game, right? 11 a.m., September 7th. It is on ABC, which is kind of nice. But we wanted to welcome Hog Nation into Stillwater and give them a little bit of taste of the tailgating that we can provide, because we always hear about the SEC. This was a good opportunity for us to showcase the tailgating in Stillwater, Oklahoma, to part of the SEC country. So I don't love the 11 a.m. kickoff here. I do like it being on ABC for exposure and national eyeballs. That is going to be pretty beneficial. Then we get another early game, this time on the road, up the street against Tulsa. Another 11 a.m., September 14th on ESPN2. There's not really a whole lot to like about this TV viewership window that we're getting here to take on Tulsa, but it is what it is. Now, we discussed the game that I thought would maybe be the easiest to win, right? The game that would be the most difficult, and the game that was the biggest trap. Well, the biggest trap game, I would have said, was Colorado. But a lot of people, rightfully so, were going to vote BYU. Well, now that we know we're going to be playing BYU in Provo at 9:15 at night, that doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. I don't know that I'm ready to rush into calling it the trap game. But I will say, it being in Provo, even though it's on my bucket list, 9:15 at night does not give you the warm and fuzzies on that game. So it very well could be in a trap game scenario, especially because of the start. The other trap game that I picked was the Colorado game, right? It's kind of weird. It's on a Friday, right after Thanksgiving. It's on a short travel week. After we play Texas Tech at home, after they play KU in Arrowhead. So there's a lot moving and shaking coming into the Colorado game. It being at 11 a.m. doesn't do anything for me, I guess. But it being on ABC, this is a good time to have the Mike Gundy, the Deion Sanders matchup on full display. So I understand why it's on ABC. Again, don't like the time frame. This isn't really giving us a lot of opportunity here. And, of course, we do not have a time yet on the opening week game against South Dakota State, but we do know that's going to be on ESPN+. I don't mind the games on ESPN+, because whenever you get used to watching so many games, you don't really care what channel they're on, because you're just pretty pumped up that you get to rock and roll there. So on top of that, we get to stay in the football conversations with the announcement of some new dudes heading down to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Now, one of the biggest things that I found in this is, does it maybe lead us to believe that we're not as squared away as we would like to claim at some of the special team spots? Now, we do know that we've got the Okie, right? And even though Long has been the long leg of the bunch, there's a reason. I'm assuming that we're going to bring in another kicker, and we have by Sam Babish. Sam Babish is coming by way of the Atlantic Coast Conference. The Cleveland, Ohio native has been at Charleston Southern University, FCS D1, and he had several other offers to get full rides, right? McNeese State, the Citadel, Campbell, Long Island, but he chose to take a walk-on spot here. Now he's going to get to contend Logan Ward, who most people assume is going to take that role. And from what I've been able to gather throughout the course of the spring, Logan has not looked bad by any stretch of the imagination. We do know that he's comfortable 61, 62, 63 yards out. It was some of the intermittent game that he needed a little bit of work on. And we obviously don't feel the warm and fuzzies that he figured it out, or we would not be bringing in the 5'11", 180-pound athlete in Babish from Charleston Southern. Now, whenever you look at the statistics, percentage-wise, right, he was almost 72% last year, 67% the previous year, 50% the previous year. So he's got the steady climb as far as, getting progress every single year. And that's realistically all that you can ask for out of these particular positions, right? Whenever you get somebody in that can help, you got to be able to, navigate it as best as possible. Now, we also brought in a long snapper. If you guys noticed recently, now he's coming in and he's going to have some competition. And I don't think this is necessarily with that being said, we welcome in some new dudes on campus. The competition isn't going to get any crazier. You want to have this style of competition, right? It can do nothing but benefit the team as a whole. Just like, with all the craziness and preparing for the season and getting tickets can be the most difficult part of the journey. Don't let that be the case. Game time, you already know, has you covered. And whenever you're trying to plan out these trips, just know that you can get deals up to the start of the event, even an hour after the event has started. Game time takes the guesswork out of you getting tickets faster and for free. On the Game Time app, you actually get to go closer and closer to the start off with less and less and less and less concern. You get to use the app. And it featured pleasantly surprising things for you, like last-minute deals, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find and easy to buy major league tickets for every kind of event in your area, not just sports. They also have the best price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection. Nobody takes care of you like that, right? The flash deals means you get to save even more with the exclusive in-app deals on selected seats up to the event and an hour after the event. Take the guesswork out of you buying tickets for finals with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCalls for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account, redeem that code, LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. What is also guaranteed is some new faces, but of course, some old faces, especially back at the quarterback position. Whenever you think of the guys that Oklahoma State has at quarterback, you've got the veteran Alan Bowman returning for his 7th year. You've got the new guy that's kind of been waiting, right, for his right amount of opportunity. I think that in being Garret Rangel, then you have Zane Flores, who everybody's very excited to see on the field. And then Malake Smith, right, has come in from a very early age and been able to do some things with the football that not all freshmen do when they get to campus. But one of the things that I witnessed in an article that I'd seen, where was that at? I think it was Pistols Firing. And they kind of broke down, can Alan Bowman get better this season? What could we look for at quarterback 2, whether it's going to be Zane or if it's going to be Rangel? But then one of the things that kind of caught my eye was at the very end of the article, they discussed all of the quarterback commits that have come to Oklahoma State since like 2015. And it kind of does blow your mind with the guys that we brought in and kind of what path their career took, both at Oklahoma State and then some being transfers, so on and so forth. So let's take a little peek behind the curtain here, and this to me is what is going to emphasize the fact that Mike Gundy has to get it right this season. This is probably the biggest year of Mike Gundy's career. And this is a good opportunity for Mike Gundy to prove that he, alongside Oklahoma State, are willing to take that next step up. Part of that is getting the right quarterback. And if you go back historically, there has been some negative thrown around about Mike Gundy choosing, the quarterbacks, and even going back before Zach Robinson, even before we had Brandon Whedon. But if you go back, 2015, we got John Kolar, who was a 4-star out of just up the road in Norman. He was a big deal to get, and then he would follow along later and transfer to Iowa State to play with his brother, Charlie Kolar. The following year, we got Keandre Woodtee, who transferred to Northern Arizona just a few years later. 2017, we got Jelani Woods and Trayson Wallace. Jelani Woods obviously switched positions, went to tight end. He left Oklahoma State after not getting a lot of balls at the tight end position. Everybody knows what he was able to do after that at Virginia. Trayson Wallace switched positions, went to wide receivers. Luckily, he's still on staff as a wide receivers coach now, and he has that different perspective coming in as a quarterback, which is definitely beneficial. 2018 did right here. We got Spencer Sanders, spent 5 seasons in Stillwater before transferring to Ole Miss this previous season. Right after, we got Brennan Costello. He entered the portal just a year later. Then we got Shane Illingworth, another 4-star out of California, who looked like he was going to be the next up-and-coming dude to replace Spencer Sanders, to be the next guy in line. He transfers to Nevada. Then we got Gunnar Gundy. Gunnar Gundy, who did, in fact, come to Oklahoma State over having some big-time offers, one of those being TCU. We all kind of know how that's kind of gone thus far, even though he is still technically on campus. Then we got Garret Rangel. That's when the 4-star run kind of started, and then followed up with Zane Flores, and then we got Mailake Smith. And now, of course, we got Adam Schobel. Do not mention John Schobel to me right now. That hurts my heart too much to have that discussion about, so we're not going to do it. But whenever you do look at the quarterbacks that have been at Oklahoma State, especially since 2015, it does kind of reinforce that this year is huge for Mike Gundy. The question is, has Alan Bowman improved enough in the pocket, and situationally more aware of how to manipulate within the pocket to take that big jump that we need him to this season? Or is Garret Rangel going from 180 pounds to 208 pounds and going from a 4.9 40 or whatever to a 4.7 40? Is all of that going to be enough? We all know the Zane Flores walked in the building at 6'3", 207 pounds. Now he's 6'4", pushing 212, 213. Physically, he is definitely adapted to the body by glass system. So yeah, I understand why there's a lot of people that want to see Zane on the field getting his opportunity. And then of course, Mailake Smith. He may have the best ball of the bunch. Now, of course, he's got a long way to go, and he's got a lot of growth, and this is a beautiful time for Mike Gundy not to have to rush anything, because you do have a lot of veteran capabilities, and then you have some veteran leadership in the backup role with Garret Rangel, and then you have the ultra-athletic stud in Zane Flores. Regardless of what direction we go at quarterback this season, I think that we're set up to be very, very successful. I'm talking 10 wins, no matter who's taken the snaps. But that could be the difference, right, between 10 wins, which is amazing, or 11 wins, 12 wins, potentially not only winning a Big 12 title, but capitalizing on getting into the playoff. I don't think that we can necessarily go wrong, but at the same time, if this is going to be a transcending season for Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy, then this kind of feels like he needs to get this one right more than any others. This one needs to be the one that he hits a home run on from the very beginning. Because if that does kind of take shape, then everything that we've set forth in the beginning of the season is possible. And you guys, of course, let me know down in the comments section. Do you feel very, very happy with where we are right now with Alan Bowman? Because he did improve. He did get better in the pocket. Now, what it'll look like when the live fire exercises start going against other ball clubs, that'll obviously be the test here. But is it the emergence of somebody like a Rangel, or is it the new pocket awareness that Alan Bowman has, or is it the fun, bad mamma jamma flashiness and athleticism that Zane Flores provides? I don't think we can go wrong, but this is the difference between 9-10 wins and making a good push at a playoff spot. Speaking of making a push at a playoff spot, there's one team that I don't think we're going to have to worry about making that push, and that's the Baylor Bears. And no, this is not a time that I'm going to dog on them for not putting enough butts in the seats of their stadium that sits beautifully on the river. We're not going to do that. We're not even necessarily going to poke a whole lot of fun at the fact that they didn't really do a lot in the transfer portal. Although I will say DeQuan Finn is one of the most exciting quarterbacks out of the transfer portal market. So I cannot wait to see him do the daggone thing. But can we get back to when Baylor football was cool? I don't want to say good, right? Because Baylor stole our title a couple years ago, and that one still hurts. But the RG3 days of Baylor's uniform game was on point. That real gold, right? The different colors of whites and grays, and where did that go? Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Baylor, they took some time out of everyone's day to build up and get ready for this launch of their new uniforms. And they're like the wish.com version of the Green Bay Packers. They're absolutely hideous. And at the end of the day, the color of the uniform or type of uniform or whatever, it shouldn't matter, but it does. I agree, it should not matter. But I also have kids, and I help kids in recruiting, and I coach some kids. And the swag, it does matter. How you present yourself on national television, in my opinion, it's going to matter. Is your uniform going to help you make a decision on a recruit? No, probably not. But your uniform can definitely be a detraction or an attraction for somebody. And I don't know who needs to hear this at Baylor, but just know as Oklahoma State fans that at least we don't have to be like Baylor. Our uniform game is phenomenal. Our uniform game has kind of been a calling card of ours for quite some time, which is why we're reviewed as like the Oregon of the Midwest for Nike. So we've been able to take the uniform game and we've been able to step it up a notch, right? Last year, we obviously got to roll out the old schools, and then the football team was well on their way to making them look good on national television. So when you do get the opportunities to have the primetime games on ESPN and ABC, why would you want to take the field in mustard-covered yellow bull hunky? I mean, even your icy whites, they're ugly, they're bad. Somebody deserves to be fired, right? Whoever's in charge at Baylor, all right, for the uniform game, fire these people. Get back to the gold, the real Baylor gold that everyone kind of secretly fell in love with. The Sean Oakman look, like that stuff made Baylor a hot ticket. And this stuff that they're doing with their uniform game right now, it ain't doing any kinds of favors. I can't imagine. You guys let me know down in the comment section what you think. If you haven't had the opportunity to check out Baylor's uniforms, like legitimately you should, because they were very, very, very proud of them. And they shouldn't have been. Like they're hideous. And somebody approved that. Not only did somebody approve it, but somebody else got paid to make that. You think somebody would guide you down the right path. You got a beautiful stadium, right? You got prime location. You're going to have more and more opportunities to capitalize in recruiting, and then you roll out this crap fest. Sorry, Baylor, but it does matter. People are watching, and I'm sure you even could see that the reception of your new heralded awesome uniforms was not good. So as Oklahoma State fans, be happy that we look great and our new uniforms look great. And this the new font stuff, right? It looks great. We're not Baylor. And I'm happy about it. All right, y'all. Let's get geared up and fired up for this softball game. But until then, that's all we're going to have for this one right here today. See, quick, fast, painless, right? Get on to softball. All righty, y'all. You know the drill. As always, I love you. God bless. Go Pokes. Thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen here in Locked On Oklahoma State. You could be anywhere. So happy you choose to be here. Go like it if you like that daggone thing. Dislike it if you don't, because that's okay too. Most importantly, share, comment, subscribe. My podcast and folks out there, you know what to do. Hit the stars, leave the reviews. All righty. Later, taters.